just a few hours ago. No one has yet seen any written accord, but my general understanding of it is that both sides will cease fire and that the Syrian government forces will be allowed to keep the peace, by Israel, will be allowed to keep the peace in southern Syria. This is obviously an extremely positive development, but we should add that Syrian government forces are not the principal armed militia that have been attacking the Druze. And just a day ago, or just a few hours before this was announced, we had Druze leadership, we had Bedouin leadership in southern Syria saying that the previous ceasefire did not apply to them at all, and they had nothing to do with it. So it remains a very, very complicated situation, and an agreement between two neighboring countries who have no diplomatic ties between them and have previously been at war. Clearly, this is an achievement for the United States and potentially an achievement for all of the civilians who've been caught up in this. But I would say we should be very cautious and that it's not yet a fully done deal. We are now beginning to understand what U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio meant 2 days ago when he said that he thought that the viciousness of the fighting was a result of, quote, a misunderstanding between Syria and Israel. It appears that Syrian President Ahmed Ashara had understood, we don't know from whom, but possibly from Tom Barrack, who is very close to Donald Trump, and he's an ambassador to Turkey, but he's basically the envoy for this particular crisis. Ashara had understood that he had the approval of both the United States and Israel to send his troops down south to try and quell the fighting between basically ISIS type militias, these Bedouin armed gangs we're talking about, and the Druze population that is very partially armed. But Israel did not know that he had that impression. Apparently that was a misunderstanding we're talking about. And again, I think we should still be careful because there still may be misunderstandings. Also, the Syrian armed forces do not yet appear to have come together fully as what we would think of as a standing army of a, sovereign nation. Syria is still very much trying to piece itself together. There are parts of its army that still adhere to Islamist principles. There are parts that were part of the army during the Assad regime. So it's a very complicated panorama.